Welcome to my course on using the BizBock meta model to build a business architecture knowledge base for effective cross-mapping. I'm sure you will learn a valuable method to become the business architecture answer shop by building an awesome architecture knowledge base. This course aims to be a valuable resource for a few reasons. How I hear you ask? It's an applied level course, meaning it puts into practice the theory you have learnt from the BizBock certification. We do this by using the BizBock meta model for cross-mapping business architecture domains. Also, we extend the BizBock meta model by overlaying the Archimate meta model. Why, I hear you ask? Well, 4 reasons. The first one, there are free tools on the market that make learning and application easier. Number 2, the Archimate language also overlaps closely with BizBock elements, even sharing the same names and concepts. Number 3, the Archimate language also uses strongly typed relationships that help communicate much about how business architecture domains are connected. It goes further than just naming the relationships. We will see this used in our analysis. And the 4th reason, the Archimate language also adds more concepts related to the all-important business capability domain, central to business architecture. The major benefit of using both models together is we can relate business motivation, business strategy, business architecture scenarios, and business architecture blueprints to operational level concepts like application components, data entities, and technology components. In my humble opinion, this is a key value proposition when seeking to align business and IT architecture. Having the BizBock discipline with forward-looking strategy linked to operational level components will simply make you and your team the answer shop. The business architecture knowledge base we build will simply differentiate you and your team from the crowd. This discipline will furnish not just theoretical conversations, but tangible practical plans and courses of action that have teeth. Having said all that, it's a big promise to fulfill, but I'm confident you will take away valuable resources. Also, a method to advance your professional career. We will highlight the valuable course takeaways in our next slides. But first, let's look at the next slide. It outlines the course. Using the BizBock meta model to build a business architecture knowledge base for effective cross-mapping. First, we look at introducing the course. We answer questions on what tools are we going to use? Why modeling anyway? What business architecture domains will we expand on with our case study? Then introduce both meta models. First, BizBock, then the Archimate model. This gives us a firm foundation to start. We call out 15 elements and 36 relationships between models in more detail. Don't worry, we break these down so they are not overwhelming. Next, we do 2 follow-the-mouse sessions that ground us in the tools used to link everything together for our cross-mappings. Cross-mapping is really a key to delivering on tangible practical plans that have teeth. We look at Archi, a free tool that has our case study modeled in it, ready for us to use. Then we look at the cross-mapping matrix built in Excel. Again, this is a readily available analysis tool many professionals use. I show you a few tricks with Excel Power Query that links our Archi exports together and builds the cross-mapping matrix. Then we move into mapping between meta models with component definitions and a closer look at relationships. This rounds out as much theory as we will go through before putting the case study viewpoints into action. Then we move into a brief description of the BA Guild's Meta Model Guide version 2. We take the position of a business architect, new to a company. The company name is Tiger Airways Transportation Company. There are 5 different viewpoints modeled that answer many burning questions. Questions like, what is the current state of company value streams? How are they connected inwards to business capabilities? Are capabilities linked to information and operations? What external value propositions are connected to value streams? Are applications and technology connected to the business? Then moving into using our tools. We showcase 5 valuable viewpoints that cross-map core business architecture domains. A special note here is the presentations will showcase what to look for in our model. You will need to download the Archi tool and Excel files that come with the course. Once you understand how to drive, it's over to you to practice driving. Finally, we conclude. There is a lot to sink our teeth into, so let's start with course takeaways, model, and analysis. Course takeaways, model, and analysis. What we see here are three things: the Archi tool, an example artifact, and a matrix. The Archi tool shows the BizBock meta model loaded up. This was created by mapping BizBock and Archimate elements together. We show you this later in the course. We instantiate this model producing artifacts we can analyze at the relationship level in Excel. The figure in yellow is an instantiated artifact. It puts together business architecture domains and therefore captures cross-mappings. This makes us the answer shop. The last artifact is a matrix you can query. It shows source and target elements either side of a specified relationship. These are the tools we use to demonstrate our 5 valuable viewpoints. Key benefit here is using free and readily available tools with template artifacts is a great leg up in achieving our goals as professionals. Now that we know what we take away from the course, let's establish why modeling anyway. This will hopefully reinforce the valuable journey we are about to go on. So why modeling? Sometimes we model to test a solution to a problem. For example, airlines face the business problem of rising fuel costs. This is obviously a complicated ongoing pain that must be coped with. So for manufacturers like Boeing to gain an edge, they had to answer this question: how do we make our planes more fuel efficient, therefore making us more attractive to buyers? So what did they do? They took a model of the winglet of an eagle and used it to create a more efficient wing. The simple curve at the end of the wing changes aerodynamics of the aircraft. This then produces more thrust, making the plane more fuel efficient. The result was a 3% saving on fuel for long-haul flights. So, when stakeholders need solutions, we use models to gain an edge. Like Boeing, we as business architects cope with complicated ongoing concerns from our stakeholders. Wouldn't it be good if we had a model and method that builds a solid foundation for current and future state analysis? This is what we're going to build. We will build a solid business architecture knowledge base showing blueprints and analysis. We will look at a model and method to build valuable current state business architecture foundations. Let's have a look at this in our next slide. Business architecture core domains. From your BizBox studies, this slide should look familiar. It is the business architecture knowledge base concept, where domains of business architecture are identified. Notice value stream, capabilities, organization, and information. These are the core business architecture domains at the center of the knowledge base. All of these concepts are used to model your business architecture. As you can see, business scenarios input to and output from the knowledge base, along with business architecture blueprints. Like any good architect, we need our blueprints. Let me illustrate it this way. If we went to a home builder and asked for a blueprint of a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, and he couldn't supply them, would you be likely to entrust him with your building project and funds? Likely not. So as business architects, our credibility is tied closely to this knowledge base and its blueprints, artifacts, and models, whatever term we'd like to use. This is what our course is all about, giving you the tools to be credible and knowledgeable by making a solid foundation. What's missing from this picture? If you said relationships, you'd be correct. These are abstract concepts that need to be connected. This is where a meta model fills the gap. We can only be called knowledgeable when we are connecting the dots. Then we are in the position to influence change and help make wise decisions. Let's look at connecting all the dots in the next slide. BizBock knowledge base domains with relationships, e.g. meta model. Here is the meta model that the BA Guild has published in the Business Architecture Meta Model Guide version 2. It defines a business architecture knowledge base founded on formal principles with extensions to align with related disciplines. Notice 6 elements or objects that are called out and related. These describe the four core business architecture domains of value stream, capability, organization, and information. As you can see, they are related by many relationships. It covers the main parts of a business, but stops short at relating operational concepts, like applications and technology. In my opinion, this is where the juice is. Connecting these things to business architecture leads internally to a strong business and IT alignment. So this is where we are headed, to overlay the BizBock and Archimate notation together and show it in operation. Don't forget, a major benefit in doing this is the strongly typed relationships that the Archimate language uses. It relates structural and behavioral elements together. To understand more on this, I recommend looking at the Archimate certification. Here is a shameless plug. We have created an open group accredited Archimate training course that dives into detail and gets you ready for an internationally recognized certification. Now let's look at the Archimate mapping to the BizBock meta model in our next slide. Archimate mapping to the BizBock meta model. Here we are looking at the Archimate meta model and the named elements that correspond to the BizBock meta model. First, notice we haven't extended the model yet to include other Archimate objects. We are just looking at the corresponding elements. Then notice that the relationship names have changed. These adhere to the Archimate specification and form the foundation for cross-mapping. Also notice that Business Actor Level 1 corresponds to Organization and Business Actor Level 2 corresponds to Business Unit. So we are seeing a consolidation of concepts back in line with the BizBock core domains. This is creating a hierarchy of the same type of object. This is the same with value stream and value. You will see on closer inspection of the supplied Archimate model that against relationship properties for, say, a serving relationship between capability and value stream level 2, there is a mapping to the corresponding BizBock relationship between capability and value stream stage. We will see a consolidation table of all relationship mapping when we dive into detail later. Now, let's quickly show the meta models overlaid together to drive home the point in our next slide. Here are the two models overlaid. It can be overwhelming to see all these relationships together, but when you boil it down, there are only 36 relationships in the model. Archimate consolidates this down to only 7 different types. All of this is in the Archimate model supplied. Also worth mentioning is in the tool we use, there is a connector called the Magic Connector. This connector is programmed to only show relationships that are allowed between two objects. This makes it much easier as a practitioner. We will go over this in our Follow the Mouse sessions on tooling.